Hello, welcome to Movie Summaries. Today we are summarizing a 2021 horror movie called Wrong Turn. Fair warning, there are spoilers in this summary. Enjoy, and be sure to subscribe to watch more videos weekly, and hit like. The movie begins with an anxious man named Scott Shaw, driving to a small town in rural Virginia. He goes to the local police station and reports his daughter, Jen Shaw, missing from the town. She had come to Virginia to hike along the Appalachian Trail with her friends, but went out of contact 6 weeks ago, despite having promised to call at least once a week. The police chief offers to file an official missing report, but tells him to not count on it, as youngsters often come to the famous trail, disappearing for weeks, before returning home on their own. Scott then meets a woman named Eileen, the owner of the inn where Jen stayed. Eileen tells Scott that her guests checked out on their own in the morning, and she didn't see Jen and her friends leave. Eileen further adds that by morning, their room was empty, and their car was gone. Scott hands Eileen his number. Scott then goes to the local bar and asks about Jen. At the bar, he meets a man named Nate Rhodes. Nate reveals that he met Jen and her friends, calling them goddamn yuppies. They went up north into the Appalachian Trail. Nate candidly tells Scott that if Jen and her friends got lost in the woods, he might as well just return home, as he is never going to find them. He further adds that out there, nature eats everything right down to the bone, not giving any shit if it's a cute girl. The response enrages Scott, and he shuts Nate up by asking if he has any kids, and if he does, what he would do. The movie then cuts to 6 weeks earlier. Jen and her group of friends are traveling from New Jersey to a small town in rural Virginia for hiking on the Appalachian Trail. The group includes Jen, her boyfriend, Darius, and couples, Adam and Mia, and Gary and Lewis. While driving, their car has a flat tire, and they have to stop to change the flat with a spare tire. As they are changing the tire, it looks like there is someone, or thing from a distance watching them. They check into the local inn run by Eileen. After learning about their intentions to hike along the infamous Appalachian Trail, Eileen warns the city-dwelling youngsters to keep to the marked trail, saying the land here can be unforgiving. That's a red flag right there. Jen thanks her for the advice, and goes out with her friends for drinks. Because of the town's history of supporting the Confederates that wanted to secede from the United States and continue slavery of Black Americans during the Civil War, the group have their guards up while interacting with the locals. While drinking, potty-mouth Adam insults the town. A local man named Nate overhears the conversation and takes offense. Darius calms the situation down with Nate and changes the topic to hiking. Nate warns the group about the Appalachian Trail and asks them to hit him up if they need a guide. After some self-promotion, Nate proceeds to leave. Adam again runs his mouth and insults the man under his breath. Nate stops dead in his tracks to check the hipster freak and says he bets they never worked a real job a day in their life. Jen, sweet by nature, politely corrects the old man. She tells him that she has 2 master's degrees. Darius works for a sustainable energy nonprofit. Mia's oncologist. Adam's an app developer, while Gary and Lewis own a pair of restaurants in New York. She then points out the yellow color in the man's eyes. Wait, is he a demon or something? On Jen's encouragement, Dr. Mia tells the man that he might have a liver problem and advises him to see a doctor. Oh, never mind. It's just a liver problem. After getting free medical advice, Nate decides against breaking Adam's bones and leaves the group to enjoy their time. After drinking to their heart's content, they head to their inn. Outside, they notice a man peeping into their car. Adam assumes that it must be one of the locals from the bar and insultingly orders the man to back off, throwing a bottle in his direction. Later, Darius and Jen talk about their life choices. He tells Jen that he works for a nonprofit instead of Wall Street because he wants to build a community where people are valued for their skills and character, not their bank account or skin color. A community where everyone works and everyone shares. Could this be a hint of what's to come ahead in the movie? The next morning, Jen goes for a jog. She runs into a local woman named Edith and her daughter, Ruthie, selling handmade bracelets by the road. Jen tries to befriend the little girl, but the shy kid runs away. Nevertheless, Jen patronizes their small business and bids Ruthie goodbye. Later, the group starts their hike to the pristine Appalachian Trail, where they come across beautiful waterfalls and frightening cliffs. After hiking for several hours, Darius proposes a side trip to see a well-preserved Civil War fort nearby. Here we go. This is how it always starts. The rest of the group are open to exploring the area, but Jen advises them against it, reminding them of Aileen's warning. However, Darius convinces her to go on the little detour. They walk for hours looking for the fort, but fail to find it. The group begins to get restless, but Darius convinces them to continue. Jen's worst fear comes true, and a large tree trunk comes rolling down towards them while passing through a slope. Panic ensues, and the group runs to safety. However, Gary doesn't make it and gets brutally crushed by the tree. The group sustains injuries, and Lewis is heartbroken by his boyfriend's death. He refuses to leave him there, but the group promises to get help to retrieve his body after returning to the town. During this chaos, Jen says she sees someone further up in the woods and freaks out. The group gets lost and sets up camp, retiring for the night. Jen wakes up at night to find someone lurking outside the tent, but brushes it aside. Good thing she didn't go out to inspect. That's a sure way to get killed. The following day, the hikers learn that Mia is missing and their cell phones have been stolen. They frantically look for Mia and notice a plaque nearby dated 1859, declaring the foundation of America. History buff Darius notes that it is dated 2 years before the Civil War even started. While looking for Mia, Jen notices little Ruthie lurking from behind the trees. Adam suspects the little girl is somehow responsible for Mia's disappearance. Frightened, Ruthie runs, and Adam gets caught in a trap while chasing her. He is dragged by a chain, and he disappears into a cave guarded by a venomous snake. The remaining group continue to look for Mia. They come across an abandoned wooden cabin filled with personal belongings of hikers. They suddenly notice Adam restrained and being carried by 2 men donned in primitive clothing and wearing elk and deer skulls. Determined to set Adam free, the group grabs weapons from the cabin and confronts the men. They ask the men about Mia, but fail to understand the language they speak. Amidst the confusion, Adam frees himself and attacks the man with the elk skull, butchering him to death with a log of wood, while the other man manages to flee. Moments later, Mia appears and reveals she was hiding after encountering the men earlier. Jen accuses Adam of killing the primitive man for no reason, but the group justify it by saying the primitive men trapped Adam and put him in the restraints. Despite Jen's hesitance, the group decides to keep the murder a secret. So much for the virtue signaling these guys were doing earlier. The group again tries to find their way out of the mountain. As they are walking, Lewis is quickly and quietly grabbed by the primitive men. They realize he's gone, and then soon find themselves surrounded by more mask-wearing primitive men. The group split into 2 groups and attempt to flee. While running, Mia falls into a pit and is impaled on sharpened tree branches. Adam abandons her, and Mia is put out of her misery by one of the masked men. Eventually, Adam, Jen, Darius, and Lewis are all captured. Meanwhile, back in New Jersey, Jen's dad, Scott, tries to contact Jen, but his calls keep going to voicemail. Jen and the others later wake up in a pit and are taken into the group's primitive settlement deep in the forest by Edith. Edith presents the hikers before the primitive group's court. The Foundation's leader, Venable, appears and informs the group that they are on trial for murder. A man named Hobbs testifies against the hikers and accuses Adam of throwing a bottle at him and saying vile things about the local people. After Hobbs, one of the 2 men, Morgan, who had a confrontation with the hikers, tells Venable that he was out hunting elk with his brother Samuel when they found Adam in one of their traps. Adam was unconscious, so the 2 brothers were taking him out of the mountain for his own safety when the other hikers attacked them, and Adam killed Samuel. Venable then asked Jen to give her testimony, threatening her and her friends with dreadful consequences should she lie. Jen does exactly that and denies Adam's role in Samuel's murder. To Jen's dismay, Ruthie is then brought to the court and she confirms that Adam killed Samuel. Jen immediately admits her lie and starts explaining that Adam killed Samuel in pure self-defense. She tells the court that Adam thought the 2 men didn't have good intentions and were kidnapping him. The justification only enrages the tribe leader, who asks her why they thought that about the tribe, when they have never met the tribe, or the tribe has never harmed them. Venable finds Adam guilty of murder and is given death penalty, while the rest of the group are sentenced to darkness. Panicking, Adam manages to set himself free and holds Ruthie hostage. He orders Venable to free his friends and let them go far away from the backward tribe. However, the tribe manages to free Ruthie and subdue Adam. As Venable proceeds to execute Adam, Jen interrupts him and pleads with him to pardon her friend, calling the execution barbaric. Venable tells her that his family built the Foundation. Men and women of all races and creeds come here to avoid the Armageddon they anticipated was coming between the Confederates and the Union. The community has everything they need. They are one body, working together. Finally, Venable asks her, whose world is more barbaric, hers or his? Jen, Darius, and Lewis are then escorted to the dark room. Venable then sears Louis' eyes shut with a red-hot iron before shoving him into the chamber. Is this supposed to be less barbaric? Venable then proceeds to do the same to Darius, but Jen interrupts him. She begs Venable for mercy, claiming she and Darius would be helpful to them. Using his expertise, Darius can build houses, minimize damages inflicted by climate change. Meanwhile, Jen's family doesn't have any history of illness, and hence, she is perfect for bearing strong and healthy children. Venable agrees, and both are welcomed into the community. The movie then cuts back to the present. Jen's father, Scott, is approached by Aileen at the bar. She tells him about the Foundation. She confesses she didn't tell him about the cult in their first meeting, because it is the town's well-guarded secret. The cult doesn't bother the town dwellers, and the town dwellers don't like to bother the cult either. She tells him that anyone who enters their territory doesn't come back, alive or dead. As Scott leaves the bar, a few of the town locals start beating him up for continuing to find his daughter. They say she's dead. Despite Aileen's warnings, Scott insists on going into the woods to look for Jen. The next morning, Scott hires local trackers, Ed and Coop, that Aileen knows, and they venture into the forest to look for his daughter. The trio do their best to avoid traps, but eventually, Ed and Coop end up getting trapped and killed. Scott takes Ed's revolver and goes looking for the settlement. By night, he finds the foundation, but ends up getting surrounded by the tribe and a brainwashed Darius. Afraid, Scott pulls out his revolver and orders everyone to back off. A brainwashed Jen shoots her father with an arrow from a distance and subdues him. Scott is stunned to see his daughter's new avatar. Venable tells him that she is no longer anyone's daughter. She is Venable's new wife. He sentences Scott to darkness for trespassing and orders his punishment to be carried out at dawn. Later that night, Jen sneaks out of her room and frees her father, revealing that she only shot him so as not to raise suspicion. The two then go to find Darius. However, Darius refuses to come with them, telling her that he belongs here. Jen and Scott then proceed to leave and run into Ruthie. The little girl shows the two an escape route that goes through the dark room. Before they get to escape, Morgan spots them, but Jen shoots him dead. The duo then head into the dark chamber, passing through tens of blinded, disheveled prisoners. She notices Lewis sitting in a corner, feeding on human flesh. She shoots Lewis in the head and puts him out of his misery. Outside, they are spotted by Edith and one other cult member, but Jen and Scott take them on and kill both of them. While figuring their way out of the mountain, they encounter Nate and other armed townsmen. Afraid, Jen warns them to back off, but Nate tells her that he wants to help. He reveals that the Foundation killed his nephew 6 years ago, so he won't mind taking revenge. Venable and his men spot them and launch an attack, killing some of the townsmen and wounding Jen. However, Jen and the others manage to escape on Nate's truck. Several months pass by. Jen and Scott have returned to their normal lives. After getting another shot at life, Jen has started mending her relationship with her estranged stepmother. One day, she visits her home to find her stepmother hosting their new neighbors, Venable and Ruthie. Venable notices that Jen is several months pregnant with his child. Afraid of what he might do to her stepmother and brothers, Jen agrees to return back to the Foundation with him. She boards a recreational vehicle with Ruthie, Venable, and his men and heads for the Foundation. However, as they drive away, suddenly the RV swerves out of control and crashes into a parked car. Jen has seemingly overpowered the cultist. The RV door flings open, and out comes a wounded Venable. With Jen on top of him with a knife, she passionately stabs Venable to death. Jen holds Ruthie's hand as they walk back towards her family home. Damn, Jen is a badass. Hope you enjoyed our summary. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos weekly. Thanks.